The Dogman movie is about to kick off a brand new animated film franchise from DreamWorks, and it's going to be absolutely wild in the coming years. But did you know that this first adaptation won't feature some of the amazing characters from the book series? These characters might only show up in future movies. One of the coolest characters in Dogman is a unique version of Petey, not his puppy clone, but someone entirely different. We're talking about Flat Petey, a version of the cat that looks more like a piece of paper than a living being. Interestingly, this character is technically the only drawing in the animation. No, you didn't mishear that. Flat Petey was drawn by the villainous cat himself while he was in prison as part of an escape plan. Petey draws himself on a piece of cardboard to fake his death. When the guards took him to a wizard named Boog, the magician used the life spray to bring the drawing to life. That's when Flat Petey gains consciousness and starts committing crimes, all while the real Petey works on other schemes. Flat Petey is one of the antagonists in the second Dogman book, which serves as partial inspiration for the movie, so there's a chance he might appear, especially if the plot involves Petey escaping from prison. However, in the comics, Flat Petey disappears, and his fate remains uncertain to this day. It's wild to think there could be 3 versions of Petey in the film: the original, the clone, and the enchanted drawing. But don't worry, watching our videos will keep you from getting lost in the story, so grab some popcorn and settle in. Another episode of Cinewave is starting. This character's full name is Boog Fiva, a wizard with the magical power of the life spray. As we mentioned earlier, he's technically responsible for bringing Flat Petey to life, but his role goes beyond that. In the second Dogman book, Boog falls under Flat Petey's control when the mischievous cat uses the obedience spray on him. Fun fact, the same life spray Boog uses also animates the buildings in Flippy the Fish's army. Those animated buildings were confirmed in leaked movie materials, so it's likely that Boog will appear. He might even play a critical role. Perhaps the life spray could serve as an explanation for Dogman's very existence. Think about it, if there's a magical spray that brings anything to life, it could explain how a man with a dog's head came to be. Maybe the nurse used Boog's powers to create the hero. This would differ from the books, but might make things easier for new audiences to understand. Unfortunately, Boog doesn't get much screen time in the comics, making him one of the forgotten but significant characters. The next character is so forgotten that he's been revamped for the movie. In the first Dogman book, Petey has a butler with no name who helps execute his plans. In the comics, this character is portrayed as unintelligent but hilariously so. For the movie, however, DreamWorks has reimagined him as a younger, tech-savvy character designed to appeal to Gen Z audiences, most of you. This decision was likely made because the butler is such a minor character in the books. Since this is a new franchise, they wanted to breathe new life into him. He'll probably no longer be a clueless sidekick, but someone skilled in technology, assisting Petey in building gadgets like the cannon and the giant vacuum. If you're not deeply familiar with the Dogman series, you might not recognize Yolay Caprice. She dreams of becoming the greatest actress in the world and makes her debut in the 4th Dogman comic. Speaking of acting, isn't it funny how studios love teasing us with leaked materials and Easter eggs about our favorite characters, only to make us wait forever to see them on screen? Yolay is Italian, and Dogman must protect her when Petey threatens to kidnap her, a threat he eventually follows through on. In the comics, Dogman becomes so famous that filmmakers decide to make a movie about him. Yolay ends up playing journalist Sarah Hadoff, a well-known character in the series. That's right, there's a movie within a movie in Dogman. She's likely to appear midway through the film, giving interviews and starring in commercials for the in-universe Dogman movie. Oh, and I almost forgot, she's an amazing cook. Her Italian dishes are a favorite of Dogman's. Speaking of Italian food, do you prefer pasta or something else? Comment #pizza to let us know. One standout character in Dogman is the Fair Fairy, who might be completely overlooked by the film's creators. Let's hope not, because she's a fantastic antagonist. Fair Fairy is anything but sweet and kind. Unlike Boog the Wizard, she has no magical powers. Instead, she's a former TV host for a children's show, but her disdain for kids gets her fired from the studio. She devises a plan to get revenge by stealing all the fun things people own instead of giving away prizes. Imagine a fairy swooping in to take your toys away. Horrible, right? Here's a character that's almost guaranteed to be left out of the first Dogman movie, but might make an appearance in a sequel. Daryl De Moth is a giant insect who wants to befriend Piggy, the pig leader of the Fleas, a villain group that will likely become the main antagonists in the second Dogman movie. Daryl tries to form a team of heroes and persuade Piggy to join the good side. This storyline makes it clear he won't show up in the first movie as it focuses on Flippy the Fish and Petey the Cat, so Piggy will most likely take center stage as the villain in the next installment. Although many fans expect Robo Chief to appear in the first movie, we think he might be overlooked, just like in the comics. While robots are confirmed to feature in the movie, this character hasn't shown up in any leaks so far. Still, his involvement could make sense, especially if the evil mayor fires the sheriff of OK City and replaces him with a machine chief created by Dr. Scum. One of the most exciting potential scenes would be a battle between Robo Chief and Petey's ADHD robot, as both are equipped with similar weapons. Which robot would come out on top? In the first Dogman book, one of Petey's attempts to escape prison involves bringing a hot dog sausage to life. However, the sausage only wants to be his friend. After being abandoned by Petey, the sausage vows revenge. Things escalate when it creates an army of angry hot dogs, fighting for their freedom and protesting against being eaten, and against Petey, the mean cat who left them behind. The rebellion ends in a hilariously grim twist. Dogman eats the sausage leader during the riot at the cat prison. The idea of hot dogs as villains is both bizarre and hilarious, but it's unlikely they'll make it into the movie. Speaking of characters who do make it to the spotlight, guess who always has a place here on the channel? You! So don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. A character with very little screen time in the comics is Grace, Petey's mother. Tragically, she fell ill and passed away after being abandoned by her husband. While we know DreamWorks will give Petey's story the attention it deserves, Grace's backstory is emotionally heavy, even in the comics. It's possible the studio won't explore it in the first movie, waiting until fans grow a bit older before introducing her to the big screen. And of course, there's no way to cram all these stories into a single movie. Many people don't realize that Flippy has an adopted daughter named Naomi. She's a yellow frog with psychic powers and one of the most beloved characters in the comics. However, she doesn't appear much in Dogman, primarily featuring in the Cat Kid series where Lil Petey takes center stage. Naomi likely won't appear in the movie because Flippy's storyline hasn't reached the point where he's ready to start a family. But if you do spot a frog in the movie, now you'll know. Her name is Naomi. Remember the hot dog that wanted revenge on Petey? During its plan, it ends up in the kitchen of the cat prison and uses the spray of life to bring a grilled cheese sandwich named Philly to life. Philly has muscular arms and is completely loyal to the hot dog leader, seeing him as its creator. It's hilarious to think that a sandwich would want to destroy Petey over such a bizarre reason. And how do you deal with food that comes to life and stages a rebellion? Simple, you eat it! Dogman devoured the leader of the hot dog army and destroyed the spray of life, causing Philly to lose consciousness. It's unlikely Philly will get a spot in the movie, considering its leader gets eaten almost immediately, but if it doesn't appear, the best way to enjoy this character is by reading the Dogman comics. If you thought Petey was the only cat with a dark past, think again. In the Dogman world, there's a black cat named Tippy who's locked up in the feline prison for a crime that's never been revealed. We know his backstory is tragic because his right ear is damaged, much like Petey's bent tail. And everyone knows that when a kitty is injured, it's a sign they've been mistreated. Tippy is just as kind as Big Jim, which makes you wonder what kind of law he could have broken to end up in prison. His dream is to make the world love cats, which is why he joins Petey's revolution. Tippy is often overlooked since he has such little screen time, but we hope he'll get his own comic someday, just like Big Jim did. And who knows, he might even show up in the movie, especially since scenes in the prison are confirmed. Molly is a tadpole who, while not as forgotten as some of the others on this list, probably won't show up in the Dogman franchise for many years. This is because most of Petey and Dogman's storylines are explored before Molly enters the picture. She has psychic powers, just like Flippy, and is a close friend of Lil Petey. Molly plays an important role in helping her kitten friend remain a hero. Unfortunately, it's safe to say you won't be seeing her anytime soon. The good news is there's plenty of excitement in store for the future of the movies. That's a lot of characters, isn't it? And believe it or not, we're witnessing the birth of a brand new movie franchise. But until it officially kicks off, make sure you stick around on our channel. We've picked out 2 more videos for you to enjoy, so check them out. See you in the next one.